right, let's get out of the middle of the road. Hey, crackhead, get the fuck out of the road. Alright guys, today we are going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of owning an Onyx motorbike. To get started, I have to tell you all that I fucking love this bike. This is the 50 amp hour light speed battery that replaced the 23 gives me over basically twice the range, if not 2.5 times the range. It's pretty nutty. So let's get into it. The good parts of the bike. The bike is built decently well for going over 50 miles an hour. Yes, it's not going to hit 60 miles an hour. That's part of the bad issue. The frame's pretty steady. I don't really see any weak points. Pretty good, strong swing arm. The only issue is I wish this swing arm was a little bit longer and even a little bit stronger so I could pop wheelies on this thing or take it off of jumps like I really want to. And tires are actually decently good. All depends on the rider. I know a lot of people have their tires within a year pop. When you're looking at the tread, I mean, mine's getting kind of close, but once you start to get close to this line, that's roughly where you want to replace the tire. And I have the dirt kit on just because here in San Francisco, obviously, we just have more shit here. Bad streets, needles everywhere from druggies, and it doesn't pop as easily, in my personal opinion. It just has added thickness. This tire right here lasted me over a year before I got a flat, and then Brandon had to come over and fix it. It's a comfy ride, in my personal opinion. It's also a lot lighter than a motorcycle. Most motorcycles will start roughly about 300 pounds. This is only about 150 pounds, which is great. Travel bag has a nice little front where you can put that on. I put on the front fender. And another great thing is there's a bunch of plug and play shit, so you can kind of put stuff on and off of this bike whenever you want to. I added on the Ego Boost 350, 370 millimeter shocks. I added on the pegs, the rear rack, and the light and the turn signals. This obviously is another seat from Saul that I've gotten from him. So I got 2 seats from Saul. Alright, I got 2 seats from Saul so far, and basically that's what's going on with the bike. I haven't had any real issues. I've also replaced the throttle with the new Domino throttle. I'm going to put on the Magura brake here soon, and got a left side mirror. But other than that, that's pretty much the bike. It has close to 3,000 miles on it, and those are the good parts. Let's get to the bad parts. The bad parts of this bike. Stuff on it, if you can already see right here, it starts to rust if you don't really know. And like, I wipe this thing down all the time, but it just starts to rust. It's kind of, you know, cheap parts. A lot of things like the bad, I guess it is kind of good, but a lot of bad stuff too, is the fact that you can find almost all of this stuff on Alibaba or online for maybe 1/4, if not 1/5 of the price of what Onyx sells them for. For certain things, they're just ridiculous. I mean, just small little things like these motor stays. They're okay. Mine actually haven't moved, which is great. This is one of the last bikes built in the San Francisco location. Swing arm still looks good. My chain has never come off, and that's a big issue, guys. A lot of people have had their chains come off their bikes. That's not good. Yeah, and if it gets stuck inside the rotor or something while it's moving, then you're really going to have issues, which one guy just did. I'll see if I can find that. And then on top of it, there's just a few other things. Like, I mean, these side panels, they're pretty cheap. You just have to find the right place. The Domino throttle was like $100, but the actual stock throttle that came with this bike is a piece of fucking shit. Seriously, you can find the stock throttle for like $10 to $15 on Alibaba or online. The front suspension, it's not bad. It could be better. I would like actually a wider fork. That way I could get bigger, even wider wheels. Brakes aren't bad, but the brakes also could be better. And now let's get into the ugly stuff about Onyx. So Onyx got a little shady last year. There's a lot of shit that went down, especially with the CEO now, one of the creators of the bike itself. It went from a 90-day wait to like a half-year wait. Some people were waiting 8 months or some crap like that. Also, because of COVID, a lot of things were being delayed, especially like the shipments of the bikes, especially with U-Haul. They're having trouble finding drivers. The other thing is they do things and they don't kind of give recognition to the people that told them. For example, this little guy right here, this idea was by someone who owns an Onyx. They're like, hey, why don't you put this here so someone can just slide it there? Boom. yeah, they didn't give them any recognition, so that's kind of messed up. Little rubber stoppers, the Ugly, these, put the cement on there, they're just weak. They're not gonna stay. Like you can see, this one's already ripped in half. I might just have to put actual something, like weld a piece of metal on there just a little bit bigger, because I think that's the only way that's going to stop. These side panels, the parts that the screws screw into are horrible. They break off if you almost look at them. Pretty cheap. The shocks, or the 350 millimeter, 370 millimeter shocks that they come with standard, are fucking garbage too, and they feel like donkey dick. But the company's been going through a lot of growing pains. Obviously, they're pumping out bikes faster. I think people are getting them now in like 30 days, which is great. But this has been my experience with this Onyx and the company for the past, I'd say 2 years, because I've known about them for at least 3. Finally got this bike last year. I've had it for 14 months, and I got roughly about, let's say, almost 2,700 miles on it so far. Yeah, guys, that's my quick rundown of the things that I do like, the things that could be better, and the things that just flat outright suck about this fucking bike. Oh, also, the handlebars are a little low, so you might want to raise them up a little depending on your personal preference. And people are also switching out the front headlight if you don't like the front headlight as well. Well, yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.